Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon for July 29th, 2023. With your host, Peacemaker2448, and Ramp It Up Salon.
Hello.
We have not a whole lot of interesting things to talk about. Like, the only extra thing is we are apparently, according to, I think it was a data mine from Pokemon Masters, going to get a Pokemon Direct in like a week. A week and change. It'll be August 8th. I wonder what the Pokemon Presents will be about.
I mean,
yeah. I assume it's just going to be about the DLC, because I don't know what else it would be about unless they're announcing something new, which I don't know. You gotta sell me really hard on those DLCs for me to care.
I mean, very true.
Like, I think the only thing that can get me excited at a Pokemon Presents right now is another Legend style game, if I'm being honest. Because I still enjoyed Arceus. I think I enjoyed Arceus more than Scarlet or more than Violet at this point.
I mean, fair, but I think it's more because of the polish.
Yeah.
Not so much because of the gameplay, because it almost feels... It almost feels like they both have a similar problem in that aspect of it.
Yeah.
You get a chunk of plot, and then you get open world grind area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, there's not a whole lot of in between with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, granted, that's always been a problem with Pokemon. It's just something I kind of would have hoped by this point we would have started maybe even pattern after some of the other open world games. And are like, maybe we need to give stuff less grindy for people to do.
Why would we do that? Pokemon works. Pokemon makes a bajillion trillion dollars, so why change anything?
Gee, I don't know. Maybe to make a bajillion dollars?
True. But yeah, that's the only other extra thing for the news. But before we get to what little we have, Tommy, what have you been playing the last couple weeks?
And outside of Destiny 2, not much.
How is the Destiny the second treating you?
Yeah, I'm remembering the things that I did kind of get a little annoyed with, but it also seems like much like, I feel like from what I've heard of Destiny 1, it kind of has had the same thing. It's kind of picked itself out of a downward kind of deal.
You don't say.
It's almost as if, Bungie realizes when they screw up and then they fix it.
Yeah. I just think it's dumb that it happened twice with the same franchise.
Yeah.
In the same way.
And it also got me thinking a little bit more with it. And I think I know why everyone didn't make the Halo comparisons to Destiny 2. It almost feels like with the way they treated the two games, the first Destiny, I almost wonder if we didn't have a lot of, as far as Bungie staff, that they came into Bungie because of Halo. and that was the only thing they really knew, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Whereas it almost feels like now maybe those same hands have kind of took a step back and looked at the puzzle solving that like the marathon games had, and maybe even some of the other Bungie stuff that they've maybe worked on and never got released, kind of deal. Because I'm noticing there's a lot more puzzle solving and platform focused with 2. And I'm like, okay, so maybe that's why it feels different. Maybe it's a case that they took a different approach to it. Because that was one thing that a lot of people, myself included, made a big comparison with Destiny 1 to the Halo series. Because that full-on felt that way. But it almost feels like Destiny 2 might have went a different approach. And I just never really paid attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, it's fun. I picked up the 30th anniversary stuff. And God, is there a bunch of marathon references in there. It full on makes sense why that's getting a reboot of sorts. And I'm gonna say that loose because until it comes out, I don't want to count that either way.
Yeah, I didn't realize how dumb and ridiculous Marathon's plot was until I watched a series of videos that are like, here is the plot. And then I get to like the third one, it's like, we're on timeline 5, 2 hours into the game. And I'm like, what? What do you mean we're on timeline 5? 2 hours into this game and we've got like 8 more hours to go. What the fuck do you mean? What is happening? Why we gotta start busting out charts for this one game in this series? Just the one. What the hell?
Because the first 2 flow together.
Yep.
There's no problems there. The third one, yeah, that's where it starts being like, what? And then because, you know, in the same vein that Half-Life wound up with all kinds of mods, there are also custom campaign stuff for Marathon. That makes it worse because they try to actually tie into the plot.
Lord.
And it's like, oh god. Because I remember finding, I'm wanting to say it wasn't an official one. It was one of them that was pretty popular though. And I'm like, this feels like this could actually be part of it. Oh my god, you guys did way too much research to do a fan game.
Well, anything else?
No.
Well, I get the big one out of the way, which is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, because I got money in from selling some stuff. Finally. Because I've been giving it to my uncle because he runs the eBay store and stuff and sells it for me, and he finally paid me for all of it. But I had enough to pick up Rift Apart. I've got Rift Apart. It runs mostly fine. I'm on like kind of lower end graphical settings, just to make sure it performs well enough, because I don't know really how far to push it. Because one thing I've learned from doing RE4 Remake on stream and then coming to like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, I really like RE4 Remake and how it tells you what's going on with different graphical settings and how much it's affecting performance. Because in the graphical settings for RE4 Remake, it has bars for like, this is how much RAM you're using, this is how much GPU you're using, and every time you toggle something, those bars go up and down. So it's like, okay, this is how much I'm using, this is how, like, I can see what's happening, and I can tell, like, all right, this is where I want to be performance-wise versus graphics. Because it'll also tell you, like, when you've gone too far. So that's nice. And now I wish more games had that. Because more or less, you just have to spitball it. But the couple of problems I've had, one's minor, one's kind of major. The minor one is just in the opening part when you have like the big transition to different worlds and stuff. They're not as seamless as they are on 5. You can clearly tell the game's loading. Like it will kind of like it won't like hard stop, but you'll see like Ratchet kind of like floating in the air, moving about, because it's like the game's gonna go, right, gotta think about this one. So they're not as seamless as 5 as it is on 5. Even though I have it on my SSD. Because I want to make that clear. I'm on my SSD. Even though you apparently don't need to install this game on an SSD for it to work, but I did anyway. The other problem is the major one. So on Xerxes, which is the combat arena planet that I believe you come back to several times in the game, I'm having hard hitching and hard freezing on the game in that area for some reason, and it's just that planet, and I don't know why. It doesn't matter what graphical setting I'm on. I tried like lower end graphical settings. I think I tried lower than what I was doing on stream, off stream, and it was still like hitching real bad. And it's just that planet, and that's a pretty small planet with just the combat arena. So I don't know what that planet's problem is, but every other planet I've been to so far has been fine.
Probably just unoptimized.
That's my
I'm
assumption.
thinking there's some kind of a issue with them trying to optimize a lot of the PS5 stuff for PC.
Yeah, because I know Last of Us Part 1 had issues. And
If
I
I'm
think
not mistaken, Spider-Man had issues at the beginning. I think they've fixed it by now. But if I'm not mistaken, it had issues because I noticed that it ran fine, but I had to run lower settings even though I was within spec.
I'm on like low settings. I forget.
Because like my computer should have been able to have ran some kind of a mix between low and medium for the specs they put for that. I had to put it all the way low, otherwise it was trying to eat up too much resources at the beginning. Since then, that's been fixed. But
yeah.
And I don't think Miles had that problem because of it being the same engine.
Right. Let me check the place I usually check to see how I compare specs wise. But yeah, that's the only other problem I had. I don't know why. I assume it's weird issues like that. It says I'm all good specs wise outside of graphics cards.
I think that was actually why I had to tone mine down.
Even though I have 6 gigs of dedicated RAM and it says it requires like 6,144 megabytes. So I'm like, am I in range? Or am I just under? That's like 6.1 gigs.
I think technically you would be under because 6 gigs of RAM, while that should be that, you never can utilize every bit of the RAM.
Right.
Because some of it has to be reserved for the functions of the card or in a main computer part of it, the processor. Right.
But I'm that's only for recommended. I clear minimum and all that. And I was running the game perfectly fine. It seems like it's just weird optimization issues rather than performance issues, which makes sense.
They're still learning on this. So it's one of those, I'm not too upset with that.
Yeah, otherwise it ran really well, and oh my god, I cannot begin to describe how just the flow of combat feels in that game and how just good it feels. Like I don't think I'm getting full combat stuff because there is some haptic trigger stuff with some of the guns. I don't know if I have that turned on or off or not because I'm playing with a PS4 controller, so I don't have that technically. because I think it's like the shotgun. If you like hold it down halfway, you get one barrel, but if you go full, it's both barrels. So I don't know if I have that stuff modified in the game at all, but oh my god, the combat feels so good.
Not, because I know if it's not an Xbox controller, then a lot of times it will not coordinate properly with Windows. And that's more of a Windows issue, not so much a game issue.
Oh, I had the weird fun of when I first got the game, because it was a couple days before I streamed it, I tested out to see how it was doing graphically, and it was running fine. How I had it set and the controller recognized. Day I go to stream it, controller's not recognizing. I had to go into Steam and turn off the Steam's thing with the controller to get it to work again. And I'm like, what? Yeah. What do you mean it's not working?
Any of the Switch controllers, for some reason, Steam's overlay will do that too.
It was just weird because it was like it worked just fine 2 days before. Then 2 days after, it somehow was just like, I don't understand what controller you're using. What controller? I don't know controller. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know the controller? But yeah, it feels so good to flow, just flowing through the combat, going through different weapons and stuff. I had to relearn that the weapon wheel is not on the bumper, it's on triangle. Which I feel like it was on bumper in other Ratchet and Clank games. Or I'm thinking of a different game with a weapon wheel. But the weapon wheel is on triangle, and I've had to like relearn doing that. But once I did, it was just like, I'm popping the fungus friend, I'm popping the sprinkler, I'm popping next to the weapon and just swapping all around. It's so fun. Ratchet and Clank combat's so fun. Also, I did notice that Ratchet and Rivet are at least different in one aspect, and that is the third hit of their melee combo. Ratchet's has a swing that will home in on an enemy. Rivet's is a downward slam that doesn't home. So the ever so slight difference between the two, because there is no functional difference between Ratchet and Rivet. Which I know some people were disappointed about, but I'm like, it's the first game they're doing this. It's okay. They don't need to be super different. They don't need to be really different unless they decide to follow up on this and then, really do some fun stuff.
Okay.
That'll make them different.
They're dealing with alternate dimensions though, right?
Yes.
Then it would make sense. It's one of those, look at any other multiverse thing out there, more often than not you will have very similar, if not carbon copy kind of concepts.
Yeah. Like, I called the plot of this game before it even came out off the first trailer, where I was like, Rivet is just Ratchet's dimensional counterpart, and Nefarious is the big bad guy in her dimension because she didn't have her version of Clank to go stop Nefarious, and Nefarious took over the galaxy. Oh, look, guess what the plot of the game is about? It's about Rivet finding her version of Clank and bonding and defeating Nefarious. Almost like it's not that hard to see.
Yeah, I mean, in a case like that, yeah, I would kind of expect both characters to play pretty similar, if not exactly the same.
Yeah. They also kind of lampshade it because your account, essentially how you all your weapons and stuff, it's the same account because was it Mrs. Zircon is just like, oh, I put your friend on the same account, so all your weapons and upgrades and all that are shared between both characters. So it's not even a different progression for any of them; it's the exact same. Which honestly is a good thing because I'd rather not them be different. Down. Yeah. And honestly, there's never really that much of a grind with Ratchet and Clank with their weapon systems because weapons max out at level 5. I maxed out the basic pistol before we even ended the stream Thursday night. Like, the only real grind I think is just getting Raritanium to get all of the extra upgrades and stuff so you get the special mods. And that's just going around the planets and going to the raritanium deposits that you'll just find, because Ratchet and Clank exploration is always, here is your main path, here's a couple alternate paths. The alternate path will always take you back onto the main paths. Like, no matter where you go, if it's not the main path, you will always come back around to where you started after you get whatever's at the end of the alternate path. It's odd circular design like that, except for like a couple of the oddball worlds that are like more open world. So those are more open, so they don't have that same circular design. But if it's like a specific path to like either an alternate upgrade or an alternate weapon or other stuff like that, it will always circle you back around. So you never have to backtrack. Which is always really nice because it keeps you going forward. But yeah, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. We will probably stream more of it. And hopefully problems with Xerxes get solved. Besides that, I'm on the last mission of Midnight Suns. I don't want to beat it because I want to pick up the DLC and play with the DLC characters. I also want to get Hulk's Midnight Sun outfit for doing his challenge. And I find that funny to say because guess when I got Hulk?
When?
Second to last mission.
That's kind of funny.
Like completing the second to last mission. Like Hulk, all of your other squad mates have a friendship meter that once you get to level 5, you get a special challenge with them. That's a puzzle challenge. And once you complete that, you get their Midnight Sun outfit and you get a new super with them. Hulk's doesn't have that. You actually have to complete 2 research tasks that take, I think, probably 3 days apiece, because I know the first one does. Or no, they take 1 day apiece, but the first one takes about 3 days to complete because you have to do a mission with Hulk, and you can only do a mission a day. But yeah, I want to get the other characters and do them before I beat the game. So Midnight Suns is more or less done. It's been fine. It's not been super fantastic, but I think it's only because the odd pacing of it, where there's no real urgency to doing missions. You just kind of just do whatever mission you want. If you want to do a story mission, you can do a story mission. If you want to do other missions, you can do other missions. There's no time limit like there is in XCOM games. Or not necessarily a time limit. There's no ticking clock that you're having to manage like there is in XCOM games. You can just keep doing missions as long as you want, I guess. I don't know. But otherwise, it's been fine. I have also been playing Murder by Numbers. It was free on Epic, I think, last week. It was here. Yeah, I think it was last week. That is a Pictionary game with some Ace Attorney, like murder solving stuff in between. I remember seeing it on John's stream, and I was like, "Ooh, yes, please, gimme." So I installed it. I played a little bit of it. I've enjoyed it so far. I need to play more of it. But that is pretty much it outside of I've done all the Shrines of Breath of the Wild. Hooray!
Yay!
I also feel like I want to take a break from, or not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Because I should take a break from Tears of the Kingdom for a while. Because getting all the shrines, getting all the light roots, it's like, do I really want to get all the sage upgrades? Because that means going around all these sky islands and like doing all that stuff. And I have a feeling it will involve me having to fight one of the 3-headed dragons in the game, because there are several 3-headed dragons in the game that are all different elements. Some of them are multiple elements, and they hurt. They really fucking hurt. So I probably have to upgrade my armor to do that, and that requires grinding materials. And it's like, you know what? Maybe I've done everything I want to do in Tears of the Kingdom. Maybe I can move on. But that is pretty much it. Shall we get to the news?
I guess we shall.
All right, then. So, we've talked about this a bunch. Tommy is ready to ban the topic. I don't blame him.
Well, I mean, when it's every show, I'm kind of just with it.
Yeah. Hopefully there is an end in sight one way or the other, because apparently a deadline for this deal had recently passed, but Microsoft and Activision Blizzard have extended that deal through October, because while they are all clear in the US, CMA in the UK still has a block on this because of the whole cloud gaming situation with Microsoft in the UK. I actually saw an article where Microsoft was considering selling off some of their rights to cloud gaming in the UK to get the deal done, but I don't think they've done so. But now we have a new deadline of October 18th. If the deal does not go through by then, we are looking at a breakup fee that will be paid to Activision Blizzard of $3.5 billion.
Or an extension on the agreement, because they'll probably decide to do that again before it's said and done.
Yeah, if it's terminated after August 29th, if it's terminated after September 15th, it'll be $4.5 billion. So more or less, Activision Blizzard is going to get a paycheck if things don't go down. But we'll see. I have nothing else. Shall we talk about Xbox Live and Xbox Game Pass?
Xbox what? And Xbox Game Pass?
Exactly, because Xbox Live Gold is being sunsetted, I guess, in September. It is being replaced by what is being called Xbox Game Pass Core. Let's see. It is $9.99 a month or $60 a year. Game Pass Core will give Xbox Live access and a collection of over 25 games to play with friends around the world and exclusive member deals. This also means that Games with Gold is ending on September 1st. And the September 14th launch, these are the games going to core Game Pass holders: Among Us, Descenders, Dishonored 2, Doom Eternal, Fable Anniversary, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Forza Horizon 4, Gears 5, Grounded, Halo 5 Guardians, Halo Wars 2, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Humans Fall Flat, Inside, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Psychonauts 2, State of Decay 2, and The Elder Scrolls Online, Tamriel Unlimited.
You know, it'll be kind of funny
What?
if after doing all this they start actually axing it from there.
Xbox also notes that they will add 2 to 3 titles a year, or titles to core 2 to 3 times a year. So it won't just be 25 games; it will probably be more. Probably. Also note, any Xbox One game you redeem through Games with Gold will remain in your library if you have Game Pass Core or Ultimate. You will retain your 360 games regardless of subscription status that you attain through Games with Gold.
Mainly because they'll probably be shutting the servers down like next year or something.
Probably. It's a decent lineup. Like, there's some good stuff there.
Yeah, there's some good stuff there, and then there's Halo 5.
Yeah, there's... Don't I have access to... Wait.
Yes.
Don't I have access... Yeah. I still have no desire to play Halo 5.
I have no desire to make us play Halo 5.
Just like you have no desire for us to do co-op Halo Infinite.
I have more desire to do that than Halo 5. Mainly because Infinite said, Halo 5, what's Halo 5?
Just like how Halo 5 said, Halo 4, what's Halo 4?
Yep. The only difference is one of those things didn't cause an uproar with the community.
One of those didn't turn the second most important character of the franchise a bad guy for no good reason.
No, I'm sure someone at 343 had a decent reason. I can't even bring myself to say good reason on that one.
And I also love how Infinite spends an entire game going, here is Cortuna. Love her, please. We're replacing Cortana with her. Because if you can't tell, Halo Infinite is a soft reboot of the franchise.
Oh, well. Infinite's a soft reboot of 5.
Yes.
Because in all seriousness, it's perfectly fine with letting, the references from everything up to 5 be there.
Yeah.
It just goes out of its way to be like, yes, Halo 5 was a screw up. We're sorry. It might happen again, but we'll try not to.
They also eject everybody from 4 and 5, I think, so hard, and it's just like, they're gone. They're somewhere else busy. You will probably never see them again. Which is the part I find hilarious. Like, regardless of how you feel about anyone from 4 and 5 that was new, we are ejecting them. They are gone.
Which partially kind of feels bad.
Yeah.
Mainly because we lose Buck. But, I mean...
Well, anything else?
Nah.
All right, then. Another example of not everything can be a live service. Do you remember the Overwatch-style Gundam game that got announced a while back?
There was an Overwatch-style Gundam game?
Yes.
I think that pretty much just answered that question.
Yeah. Gundam Evolution, which came out a little less than a year ago, will be shutting down. It'll officially end November 29th, marking a little over a year in active service. It will still receive updates, including a Season 6 arriving August 23rd, and the final season on October 25th. But today marked the end of more or less buying any sort of premium currency or anything like that. So you just can't no longer spend money on this game, is the short and long of it. And then you get free content updates until they kill the servers. Well, bye. I feel bad because I want to like Gundam, but it feels like all of the Gundam centric games pick all of the Gundam shows I don't care about and don't know instead of the ones I care about. So I have no interest. But any other thoughts?
Nah.
All right, then. Comic-Con gave us a brand new story trailer for Marvel Spider-Man 2 that doesn't give us too much in the way of plot we didn't already know about, unfortunately.
Makes sense.
It does give us a extensive look at Harry and his relationship to Peter from different parts of the game. And if you didn't believe that Harry was Venom in this game, the trailer kind of bookends by telling you, yeah, Harry's Venom. We literally have Venom say the same line that Harry says at the start of the trailer at the end of it. But yeah, otherwise, it's a lot of the stuff we've seen. Peter and Miles are kind of just getting farther apart, partially because of the symbiote. Mary Jane is worried about the whole situation. Craven is here to hunt everybody. And actually, we see how Peter seems to get the symbiote, which is how I didn't expect, I think. But yeah, any thoughts?
No, kind of just at the point of waiting on the game.
Waiting on it to come out on PC?
Yep.
Same. I'm excited for this game when it comes out in a year on PC. Or 2. I don't know. I'll happily watch a playthrough of it so I see what the plot is. And last up, the Castlevania anime that's been on Netflix has its brand new season dubbed Castlevania Nocturne, dated for September. Richter Belmont takes the reins over Simon. It looks neat. It looks cool. I kind of fell off the Castlevania show from like the last couple seasons, but a cast refresh might be really good for this. Have you checked out the Castlevania anime at all?
Nope.
Oh, it's actually pretty good. Surprising enough, it actually works.
I feel like that's one of the few games that I feel like could work.
I mean, it helps that like Castlevania doesn't have the most complicated plot in existence to try to adapt.
Well, and it also kind of helps that we've already had movies and stuff similar enough to it where it's not that far of a stretch.
Yeah, it's man has to kill monsters in order to kill Dracula. Yeah, that's not like a groundbreaking concept.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm like, you know, that actually could work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those that's just never interested me.
Fair. But yeah, folks, that's all we've got for news. We don't have anything else. That Twisted Metal show's apparently debuted. My dad was watching it. He, I think, liked it. I didn't see much of it when he was watching it. I will watch how many ever episodes are out and report back on if it's anything worthwhile.
I don't know how I feel on that one, to be fair.
I mean, the little bit I saw was the clip we've seen and a little bit more past it. And I'm like, this is exactly what I expected it to be, which is fine. But also, I don't know what to expect from a Twisted Metal show to start with, because I don't even know what Twisted Metal is at this point anyway. Even though I've watched, I think, Golden Bolt's retrospective on Twisted Metal, that seems like Twisted Metal doesn't even know what Twisted Metal is anymore. Yeah, anything else before we hit releases?
No, I can't really think of anything.
All right, releases. We're going to kick off on the 31st. We've got Cult of the Lamb SRG single for PlayStation 5. Ferris Bueller's Day Off for the Switch. Air National Secret Agent for the Switch. Venba for Xbox One Series, Xbox 4, 5, and Switch. On August 1st. First. I don't know what word I was trying to say there.
It sounded like first and fourth all at the same time.
I don't know where the fourth came in then. But we have there a need for the Switch? Which, that reminds me, I saw an article that I was absolutely confused about. So someone is wanting to do a Barney movie. And like, okay, fine. But you know what they were trying to do?
What?
They're trying to make it for adults.
So, in the same vein as that Winnie the Pooh one, that I think was a few years back now.
Yeah, except that's the region. That's the the public domain version of Winnie the Pooh because it has no shirt.
Yeah.
I'm just like, who wants a mature, adult-themed Barney movie? Like, what's the point?
You'd be surprised.
I'm sure. But I'm also like, what's the point? Like, is it going to be horror themed? Because we have a franchise for that. It's called FNAF, and they have their movie coming out this year.
Yeah, but that's not characters that everyone knows.
Also, Mattel wants to do a cinematic universe because the Barbie movie did well.
Of course they do.
Would you care to guess what properties?
Not really, because I feel like it's a dumb idea. Just saying. We've kind of hit the point of everyone does good with one and expects to do a whole cinematic universe out of it.
Yeah. Oh, here is the list. Uno, Barney, Wishbone, Matchbox, Hot Wheels, Magic 8 Ball, Polly Pocket, Viewmaster, American Girl, Major Matt Mason, Masters of the Universe, Thomas and the Tank Engine, and Rock'em Sock'em Robots. I'm going to point out we already have a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie. It's called Red Steel. It came out like 12 years ago. Also, we had a Master of the Universe movie already. That came out like 20 plus years ago. It bombed. What would an Uno movie be?
That was the one that stopped me out the gate.
The literal first one.
Yep.
Look, okay. Here's my pitch for an Uno movie. You know how I have all of these like toy animes from back in the day, like Bakugan and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all of that?
Oh, Jesus. I know where you're going with this.
Yes, make it that. Literally make it an Uno anime.
Except, here's the problem with that. One, they won't want to do an anime. They'll want to do it live action. And it'll be some kind of stupid idea of like the cards coming to life.
Look, it just has to be anime style. It doesn't have to be an actual anime.
I reference back to the 2 points I just made.
I know. They won't want to have fun with this. They want to take it 1,000% seriously. And I'm like, no, this must be dumb. It must be 1,000% dumb. Is the only way this is going to work.
Out of recent movies that have actually hit really good, Mattel is last in the line to try to be coming up with a cinematic universe. Nintendo should actually be thinking of this.
Yeah, even then I'm like, if this doesn't end with some weird dumb Smash Brothers crossover, then what's the point of them sharing a cinematic universe?
That's the thing, though. I feel like that would. And actually, you know, they could pull it off. They could introduce the original Smash roster in different movies and then essentially follow the pattern all the way through the Smash games.
True.
Yes, it would get a little more trickier by the time you get to doing, truthfully, both Melee and Ultimate, but it could be done.
Yeah. Anywho, back to releases. We also have There Is No Light for Xbox One on August 1st. August 2nd, Atomic Heart Annihilation Instinct DLC, I would assume, is Xbox One Series, Xbox 4 and 5. Ocean Horn 2, Knights of the Lost Realm for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. Let's see. On August 3rd, Giga Bash Godzilla 4 Kaiju Pack DLC for Switch. Lost Egg 3, the final for Switch.
They missed their shot. Should have been the final leg.
Yes. Would you like to run an Idle Cafe? ?3 for the Switch. What do you mean there's 3 of these? That's the part that gets me, is just like, that just sounds like the normal, like, Switch, you know, whatever.
Shovelware?
Shovelware. I was derping on the word. But I'm also like, why is there 3 of these? Also, they're all like $3 on Steam, apparently. Also, it is visual novel, so it's cheap shovelware. Incredibly cheap shovelware. Of course it is. Anywho, let's see. August 4th, Giga Bash is on Switch. Skalash is on Xbox One Series, X, PlayStation 4, 5, and Switch. Cooking Arena is also on Switch. I forgot to update that date. On August 8th, the most important release on the list, WrestleQuest for Xbox One Series, X, PlayStation 4, 5, Switch, and iOS. That is the Mario Party style wrestling game. One of them, at least. I believe this is the one that has actual wrestlers in it. I know Gerard has talked up this game in one video, at least. I forget what video, but he's talked this game up. And honestly, you just have to say the words wrestling RPG to me, and I'm like, yes, please, gimme. We are not, there's no need to complicate this. Wrestling RPG, yes, please. I just find it weird that it's not also on Android. Let's see, August 9th, 30XX for Switch. Legend Bowl for Xbox Series, X, PlayStation 4, 5, and Switch. Unidentified falling objects for Switch. Let's see, on the 10th, Stray for Xbox One and Series X. Pups and Purrs Pet Shop for Switch. The Dragoness Command of the Flame for Xbox One Series X and PlayStation 4 and 5. And Zombie Soup for PlayStation 4, 5, and Switch. And on the 11th, Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC for PlayStation 4, 5, and Switch. And World Soccer Pinball for Xbox One Series X. And that is our releases for the week, folks. Which will do it for us. So tomorrow, Tommy gets to walk me through KH2 Randomizer with the path hint system. Hooray! I can't wait to screw something up.
I can't wait for me to roll like crap seed.
That is a given. I just accept the bad seeds will happen to us. But that is tomorrow. Next Thursday will be Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Next Friday will be the start of our payday, the marathon of sorts. I still need to get a list for you for the DLC I have for Payday 2, don't I?
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Okay. I'll get that once we're done here. And then next Saturday, we continue Ultraman Z! Hooray! But between now and then, if you like what you're seeing, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Chipping away at that really cool. At TGS Network, at /social, and at TGZoon on Twitter, or at TGZoon on Twitter. We'll give you updates on when we go live. Exclamation point, Discord, and chat. Drop by, say hi. See you tomorrow, folks.